Welcome back to 12th House Creations. I'm Ayla. I am going over everything I crocheted and spun this year. I was quite busy, as you can see, so I want to share all that I made. I will be linking all the videos or any patterns that I used to create these down below. I will also try to let you know the different yarns that I use for each project. I may not have all the details, but if you have questions on a specific yarn and I didn't mention it, you can comment down below and I will try to get to that as well. I'm going to try to start in chronological order. Some things are a little bit out, and then I also don't have some of them physically because some of them were gifts. So I will start with, and I may have started projects as well this year that I didn't finish, so those won't be included, but will end up in next year's wrap. So the first one was a sweater for my husband. This was my first project that I completed. I had started it in 2024, and yeah, finally finished it in January. I used a discontinued Lion brand yarn, which I had thrifted, and lesson learned, be very careful with thrifting and making sure, I've now learned, making sure you have the right yardage for your project, because going on eBay and trying to hunt some of these down was a little difficult, but I think it was worth it. It's super warm and cozy, and I cuffed the sleeves as well. Yeah. Super excited. It's probably one of the largest projects I have made. Next up was this market bag. This this bag has a huge story. I won't go into all of it, but this also sent me into a spiral. It was during the time that Joann's was closing, so I had found the Lily and Sugar yarn, and I believe it's in Psychedelic. And I did not, again, lesson learned from the last project, I did not pick up enough yarn to finish this. So then by the time I went back to Joann's, they were all gone, and I had to spend a lot of time finding other sources. And then on top of it, the yarn just wasn't the same. I noticed that several of them were missing purple, while like here you can clearly see there's a purple. And it kind of started disappearing towards the end, so like you can see the handles don't really have much of that. So it was extremely stressful, and as someone like really obsessed with color, I really wanted to make sure it was cohesive, but I don't think you can notice it at all. I think it was just me being a slight perfectionist. The next was this towel. And I forgot to say, this was using Stephanie Zed's video on YouTube. Again, I will link everything below. So yeah. Then I made this Tunisian crochet towel. Right now it's kind of used more as like a placemat for our water boiler. And it's really cute. I wanted to do a Tunisian crochet project. I should not have started with the towel. I mean, I wanted something small, but the amount of time it took to do this, and then I have to still make the matching one, definitely I will be reserving this stitch for more sweater-like and knitwear options. So lesson learned, I did not use a pattern for this. I just did the Tunisian crochet stitch, and then I added a border because I used one skein for the center and then it was a little too short, so I just added this beige to finish it off. And then I dove into filet crochet this year. I started with this panel. It's kind of difficult to see, but it's, oh yeah, that is very difficult to see. I will insert clips of it as well. It was a flower motif, and it was like a vintage pattern, and I had just done a rectangle and wasn't sure, I didn't have a plan for it, so I made it into a little summer top, and then Using, sorry, referring to my notes, Schuyler's Crochet, I made a skirt to go with. It's got cute little detail on the bottom, and I added a, it's the Trinkets yarn, so it adds the little flex. I don't know if you can see. Let me cover my face. It adds the flex, and this was the hipster yarn that I had used. Next was this little summer top. I used a cotton yarn from Hobby Lobby. I don't remember the brand. I don't usually support Hobby Lobby, but I was definitely feeling the loss of Joann's, and I did really like this color, so I won't be going back, but for this project it definitely worked. Had a little scalloped edge, and this pattern was by Passionate Kelsey, and again, we'll link everything below. Next was this easy summer tank, and I used the bamboo line yarn from Michael's. I believe it's a loops and thread yarn still, just bamboo, and it's very light. I actually have worn this one out and I've gotten quite a few compliments. It's not perfect. One of the sides is definitely a little bit longer than the other, but you can hardly notice it, so I really like this one, and it's really soft. And that one was using Migaia, M-I-G-A-I-A, using one of their videos, and it was really easy. Next was this poncho, which is one of my favorite projects I made this year. It was by Hannah Drapinski's video, her poncho, her whimsical poncho. And I used a universe yarn from Hobie, and then I used a Diablo yarn that's multicolor and multicolor mohair, and it's just warm and like cozy and soft, and I don't know, I love the shimmer from the universe yarn, and I think it just drapes really well. I will also insert a little clip of me wearing it. I was also just obsessed with making ponchos this year, so I also made a lighter cotton based poncho using, again, a Hobie, not a Hobie, using a Hobby Lobby yarn. I love the colors, and this was a pattern from the TikTok created by Erin. It was really easy to follow, and it works up really quickly. And this one I've actually worn on just like bike rides and other things like that, and it's just airy with giving a little bit more coverage. Then I made this summer cover-up. I originally made it for my batch trip to go over bathing suits because I was going home to Arizona to celebrate, and my mom has a pool, so I thought this would be great. It's super soft. It was made with the loops and thread yarn. I can't remember which kind. I will also try to link the yarns below if I can, or at least the names. And it's got these cool flecks, and I don't know, it was just very soft and airy. This was made using the pattern made by Bead Jacks. Really easy to follow as well, and it kind of gives different sizing options, so that was fun. Then I also made just a little pouch for my camera using leftover yarn from the poncho and from the tank top. I added a little button just to secure it. And yeah, super cute, super soft, super easy. I made a low back top using a Joann's yarn that I had stocked up on before they were no longer with us, and this is using a pattern by It's Erin B. I really like their content too. I love watching their dye videos, so it was fairly easy. It definitely is something I may remake because at some point I started adding additional stitches, so it's not quite even, so I may undo it and redo it again because I really like the design, and the color just, to tweak it a little bit. Then I got married this year, so I wanted a little shawl wrap. It was in September, so where we live it gets a little chilly, and I wanted something just to go over and kind of match. I can't find the video I used for this pattern. If I can find it, I will also link it below. But it's got this nice leaf design, and if you saw my wedding dress, it matched really well with it, and I think it just kind of brought the whole look together. So, and it worked up fairly fast. I was a little ambitious starting it like a week or two before the wedding, but you know, when you want to get it done, you'll get it done. Next, I made a granny square vest. I became obsessed with vests and just layering in general. I wear a lot of turtlenecks, so this has already been used several times. I really like the colors. I believe it's by, the yarn's by James Marshall, I want to say. If I will correct it below if it's not. And this just is a really nice marble yarn, and it worked up really easy. I used the pattern by I Crochet. It was fairly easy to follow. You just kind of make a granny square and then add a couple layers for the shoulders and on the sides. And yeah, super cute. This was a huge project I finished. Again, I also picked up these two colors randomly, and I knew I wanted to do the swirl sweater by Hannah Drapinski, and when I saw the two colors together, I just thought they would be really cool and kind of psychedelic. So I made this. I did add cuffing to the neck and the bottom and then the sleeves. I kind of made it a little bit different than her pattern to just continue the sequence of colors. So you can see this one's kind of got a blue base, and then this one's more of a red base, but the sleeves are both pink. And I don't know, it's just super cozy, really easy as well. And it's probably another one of the other biggest projects I made. Another thing that I don't have with me that I made that was slightly bigger was a baby blanket for my brother and his girlfriend and my nephew. It was inspired by a TikTok video that I had seen, but for some reason I can't seem to find the exact video. It was essentially someone making it for their niece and nephew as well, and it had oxes, but I modified mine to more of a monkey. It was originally going to be an orangutan from his, like, there's a whole story with it, but essentially his childhood stuffed animal, so I wanted to make something kind of inspired by that. But I will also insert a picture here. And then I also added a nice soft baby blanket to the back just so it's not as rough for him, and yeah, I don't know. I also used mostly acrylic yarn and like kind of some scraps that I had already, and then a loops and thread yarn for the green mosaic looking color. And it took probably 2 months because I did have to come up with the monkey pattern on my own, and there was a lot of trial and error and frustration, but I really loved how it turned out. And yeah, a few other things for him that I made were a little pumpkin beanie, as well as a Santa hat for, you know, photos that they would do with him, and I think they also turned out really well. I used the pattern for the pumpkin hat. I used Jan's crochet pattern, and then for the little Santa hat I used America Crochet Association pattern. Fairly easy to follow. They both worked up really quickly. I think I got them done in an afternoon, so not too difficult, but I guess when their heads are this small, it doesn't take a lot of time. Following the hat train, I did make a couple bonnets because I was going to China in December, and I knew it was going to be cold, and it was 17 degrees, and This bonnet honestly saved my life while trying to walk the Great Wall. This is the pattern The Bow Bonnet by Amazing-ish Grace. And I used this yarn that I had been saving, again, from Joanne's Loss. It's the K plus C yarn, and this color is just my favorite. I still have one skein of it left. I don't know what I will make with it, but I love it so much, and this did honestly keep myself warm. And then I also made another bonnet using, I believe it's the Knit Picks Oceana yarn. It has black, but you can also see it's kind of got this green base to it. And this is super fluffy, and I'm super excited to wear this one out. I made this scarf a little thinner so I could do more of the bow effect. And I don't know. It's always cold here, and I'm always cold, so I thought it would be really cute. And it is. It's one of my favorite projects this year. I also made a few household items. This is one of my pot protectors. We were gifted new pots this year, and my last set, the bottom just kind of rubbed out, and I also wanted to protect the coating on the inside so that that doesn't get damaged, and this was super easy. And I used leftovers from that Lily Sugar yarn, and these I did multiple different sizes. It was, again, super easy. This was using a pattern from Nana's Crafty Home. It's a video, so it's, again, super easy. I think I busted all of them out in an afternoon as well. And then I made this rug. It's a little, it definitely needs some washing, and I did not use the right yarn for it, but I had a lot of this left over, so I just wanted to use it up. And this was made, used a video by Bee Hooked Crochet to make this. It worked up really fast. My cats seem to love it a lot, so it has gotten a lot of use as well. I also made 2 stuffed pumpkins this year for decor for Halloween using MJ's Off the Hook video. It was really easy. It's a square, you pull it together, and then I used a couple wood pieces from the garden that we found and just attached that to the top, and they turned out really cute. We'll show you. I'll insert it here. Some other projects that I don't have with me, mostly because I don't want to pull it down and one I can't find at the moment, are a pair of socks that I made using a loom. I had never used the smaller loom, and I just kind of wanted to find a project for that. And again, I had kind of this chunky leftover yarn. It is a little pilly, so I don't know if I would do that again, but they kind of work as house slippers for me. And that was using a video by Yarn Stash with Marching North. I also made a yarn holder hammock. Usually people use them for plushies, but I use it for yarn storage. That was using a pattern by Hobby Moth. It was, again, super easy, worked up pretty quickly, and it does stretch, so I thought I had originally made it too big, but looking at my yarn stash now, it was probably appropriately sized, so that has come in handy this year for sure. And when it comes to spinning, I did get a drum carder this year and wanted to start making my own batting. So this was one of my first batting projects. I will insert a picture of what the bat looked like before I spun it. And this was all spun with a drop spindle. I took a class at a local yarn shop and definitely is overspun in areas, some varying width as I started learning how to properly draft. And yeah, I also plied it with a other thread. You can see it's like a magenta thread, and I think it turned out really well. I love all these colors, and it was inspired by a calendar photo that I have. Every year I like to buy calendars made by local artists, and so I had purchased Blind the Sun calendar. I will insert a photo of what I based it off of here. I just love the colors, and I used mostly wool, but there's also some recycled sari silk that I got from Yarn Festival that was here locally. I didn't get much from that just because everything was, it was really, I wouldn't say cramped, but there was so many people there that it was really hard to get into booths and look at yarn and things like that. And my stash was already pretty big, so I wanted to focus more on materials for drafting and making bats. So this was my first one. I'm pretty proud. Not much more to say. This was one of my first spinning as well, but this was way before I learned in the class. This I didn't draft as well. You can see there's some bigger chunks. But I also used the same yarn thread to ply, and I think it gave it a good look. But this was also made using the drop spindle. And yeah, I don't know what I'll be making with these since they are so tiny, but it's definitely a fun process and kind of meditative, so I definitely enjoyed learning it. And I won't say that I won't claim that I'm drop spinning correctly, but I have found my own way. I still need to learn how to draft and actually drop it, and to be drafting at the same time. It's just going to take a little more practice. This is my latest spin. This is using only half of the roving, so I will be putting this on the yarn winder, balling it up, and then doing the other half and then plying the two together. So this will be my first 2-ply using spun yarn. So I'm really excited. I love these colors as well. This is the Malabrigo roving. Yeah, it's just really soft, and it was fairly easy to draft, which is helpful. I've had other ones that are a little stiffer. Sometimes when they're hand dyed, they kind of get a little, yeah, they're just a little harder to draft. So I think I will definitely be continuing this and also making more battings in the future.